Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to give you my top 5 tips to maintain your gear between ski trips. This could be between ski seasons as well. Essentially, these are the top 5 things that I think you should do between going skiing. This will include stuff for your skis, gloves, kind of gear in general, and then a surprise one that I think is kind of funny. Alright guys, let's get into it. Tip number 1, wax your skis. So if you went skiing more than 2 or 3 days, you should wax your skis. Essentially, you should wax your skis after every trip in general. This will keep the base layer very safe. It will keep the moisture out. It prevents rust. And if you spent money on your skis, take care of them. Give them a little TLC. The reason why you wax the bottom of your skis is, like I said, to keep the moisture out. And if you see right here, I got a pretty gnarly scratch from when I decided to ski over a tree root. Again, it's ironic to think that you want to keep the moisture out of your skis, but you do. You want them to repel moisture so you can slide right over. Yeah, so wax your skis. You can take them to your local ski shop, a Sun and Ski or like an REI, depending on where you live. Or if you go often, I highly recommend waxing your own skis. So to wax your own skis, you need a ski waxing kit. Now the kit I use is the Demon Unlimited. I got this as a Christmas gift, I think 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember, but it was pretty cheap from what I remember. I think it's only like 60 bucks. For reference, an average ski wax and edging will cost you around $40. So after you do it yourself 2 times, it's pretty much paid for. What comes in is pretty simple. You'll have a waxing iron, some wax. You'll also have some stones that will go and buff out the edges, get any rust off the little metal edge on your ski. It's fun. It takes maybe like 5-10 minutes. It's not that complicated. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there to show you how to do it. If you are interested, I can make a video of me waxing my own skis and show you how I do it. I will be very clear, I'm not a professional at this. It is not really a tutorial. I'm just showing you how I would do it. But in general, wax your skis after every trip. If it is the last trip of the season and you are not skiing anymore, put a nice thick coat of wax on it and leave it there. It will keep the moisture out. And don't store your skis in the garage if it's not temper controlled. I would just recommend putting it in a closet indoors somewhere. The reason why is skis are very susceptible to moisture. So if you leave them in the cold, damp garage in the summer, they could start expanding, and then when it gets colder, they'll shrink. It can mess up your bindings, it can mess up the edges. You know, if you like skiing as much as I do and you spent a good amount of money on them, just take care of them. Anyway guys, that's tip number 1. Let's get to tip number 2. Tip number 2. Ironically, there are 2 types of gloves out there. There are non-leather based gloves, which are great. And then there are leather based gloves, which are also awesome. This tip is regarding these. So these gloves, if you have them, skip or just throw them away. That was a horrible idea. I just threw it straight at something that shouldn't have been thrown at. Anyway, leather gloves. Why do people get leather gloves? 1, they feel great. They're sometimes a little bit warmer. You get a lot more dexterity, which is really convenient if you are messing with bindings, camera gear in my situation. And they're just nice. Like, who doesn't like a nice pair of leather gloves? What does come with leather gloves though is you have to condition them. I have a pair of Hestra fall line gloves. They are awesome. I love these gloves. When it does get really cold, I tend to use my other pair of Burton gloves because they're a little bit more insulated. I can stuff hand warmers in them. But if it's 20 or above, there's a really high chance I'm using these. Now, when I'm done skiing for that trip or the season, I always condition them. I use the Hestra specific conditioning wax. What this does is it keeps the moisture away from your gloves. It also helps from fraying. If you look closely at the edges of the gloves, you can tell that they have seams and everything. I take really good care of my gloves because I spent a lot of money on these and I don't want them to be done after a season. So always condition your leather gloves. If you don't have leather gloves, again, just skip to this next part and say, wow, Adi, that was a really bougie thing for you to buy. It was. I went skiing and I got my tax return and I was a little feeling good, and I got leather gloves. But I love these things, they're the best. If you want to spend money on weird things for skiing, get leather Hester gloves. You'll never look back. These are the best things I've ever bought. All right, tip number 3. Tip number 3, boots. So you spent a good amount of money on your boots. They're really comfortable. You really enjoyed your first time skiing them. You got home, you took them off and you threw them in your closet. And then the next time you go skiing, you're like, wow, these boots really suck. Why aren't they uncomfortable anymore? Why do they hurt my ankles? Why do they look weird? All these things, and you're wondering why the boots didn't feel the same way. It's because you didn't store them correctly. Like everything else in ski gear, there's a proper way to store it. There's 2 ways to store your ski boots. There's the incorrect way, which is all unbuckled, mangled, you didn't really care about them, you left them in your cold garage. Or there's the proper way. You buckled everything up, you kept them tight, you put them in a ski bag, put them in a closet, and you took care of them. Now, ski boots are made out of plastic. You can kind of hear it, you can see it. They are plastic. Plastic is a semi-rigid material, meaning it will keep its shape for as long as it can, and if it's put to a point of stress where it exceeds that level, it will start deforming. Ski boots are meant to stay buckled as much as they can. When you take them off, the reason why you can stretch them a little bit is because of that semi-rigid plastic, but when they are not being taken off or put on, they should be clamped up, strapped down, and kept in the same mold. Because what's gonna happen is if you leave your boot all janky and unbuckled like this, and the next time you try to put your foot in it, it's gonna feel weird. There's gonna be things that are bent certain ways, and you'll have pressure points on like your ankle, your shin, and so forth. So, tip number 3, it's really simple. Buckle your boots, put them in a nice dry area, and leave them buckled while you're not wearing them, and it will last you a lifetime. Also, side note on this tip, get new insoles every year. Your feet are very important, and if your feet are happy, essentially you're happy. So just make sure your insoles are nice and comfortable. And when you buy boots, they'll probably sell you insoles. It's very common. But that's like a tip 3.2. Take it or leave it. I usually get new insoles every season. They're only like 30 bucks. All right guys, so that's tip number 3. Let's move on to my next one. Now my next tip is probably my favorite. I think it's kind of hilarious. So let's get to it. Tip number 4, which by far is my favorite tip, and I think it's kind of funny. Unzip your zips after you go skiing. Go through and undo all the zippers in your jacket and your pants and your backpack and take everything out and see what you brought back from the mountain. If you watched my last video, you know that I like putting little breakfast sausages in my pants zipper because I think it's a great snack on the chairlift. It's got a lot of fat, it tastes yummy, really accessible. Anyway, if you saw my last video, you know that I put those in my side pocket. Well, guess what happened when I flew all the way back from Tahoe, California to Austin, Texas, and I was undoing everything. I found that little bag of just gross, greasy meat in my pocket that was probably in my pants for like a day and a half. Gross, no maggots or anything weird like that. But you need to check that. So after every trip, you know, go home, make sure everything's clean, take your backpack, undo all the zippers, am I clean, am I good? If you have a camel pack like I do, take the bladder out, empty it, dry it out. For example, after last trip, I found another one of these honey stinger waffles in this backpack. By the way, these are also really good. Not sponsored by them, but if I was, that'd be awesome because I eat them all the time. Honey stinger, holler at your boy, slide in my DMs. Anyway, check out your backpack, make sure everything's out of it, take a quick evaluation of, did I lose anything? Is my backpack clean or my pants clean? And then just, you know, zip them back up, hang your ski jacket, hang your pants, put your backpack up in the right spot, zip everything up, clamp everything down so it's not flopping around and getting in the way. But yeah, unzip your zips. It's important. You also might find some cash if you're lucky. You also might find out you lost some things. So unzip every zipper that you have. Make sure you know that there's not anything weird in your backpack or jacket. One year, this wasn't this year, but one year I did kind of get home and unzip my backpack and my jacket and everything. I found 2 beer cans, one full and one like crushed. I don't know how I went that far knowing there was a full beer in my jacket and I didn't ever feel it, but I did. And the only reason why I found it and all the way from Texas was because I unzipped my zips. Anyway, tip number 5. Tip number 5, take care of your goggles and put them in the little chamois they came with and undo them from your helmet. Now that sounds really simple and stupid, but what often happens is you're like, whoa bro, that was a great day of skiing. And then you throw your goggles and they get scratched up and then you're pissed because your goggles don't look good anymore, and it's a whole thing. So when you're done skiing, unclamp, take the goggles off, get your little goggles case and put them away and store them nicely. Really, this tip kind of applies to everything. When you're done skiing, take your gear off, put it together nicely and put them away. This is also a great time to introduce my first and only sponsor, Outdoor Masters. So Outdoor Masters is a ski equipment company. They have goggles, they have helmets. This is their Pro Line helmet. It's really awesome. It's got a little gainer to it so it can tighten it up. It's got nice vents. And these goggles have magnetic lenses. So you can just clamp them on. How sick is that? It's so cool. So thank you Outdoor Masters for sending me these goggles. I'm really excited to use them in Breck. I will do a full review of these goggles and that helmet that I just showed you and go into more detail. But if you are looking for new goggles and new helmets, I highly recommend checking out Outdoor Masters. They have great quality gear for a lower price. You can also buy it on Amazon, which is pretty sweet if you have an Amazon credit card or like a rewards thing with them. Again, thank you Outdoor Masters for sending me those goggles and helmet. I'm excited to use them and test them out in Breck. Well guys, those are my 5 tips. I hope you enjoyed this video. Quick summary, just take care of your stuff, put it away nicely. I think that's kind of like a rule of thumb with everything from as I've gotten older and learned. But if you like this video, like and subscribe. My next video, I will be actually skiing. Woo! We'll be in Breckenridge. We're gonna go to Vail, hopefully, if weather permits. We're gonna try to do some night skiing at Keystone. If there's any runs or you want me to try anything in particular at Breck, put it in the comments. I am gonna try to do the lake chutes and go all the way up to the top of Peak 8. I'm also gonna try to do some of the more intermountain bowl skiing that they have, like off Peak 8. I've never done those before and I heard they're really fun. And we're supposed to get some snow there, so we'll get some good powder skiing. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Like and subscribe, and I will see you in Breckenridge. But seriously, how sick are these goggles and helmet? I mean, like, I can just pull these lenses off and be like, hey friends. So cool. What you don't see in this video is there is a lot of stuff just on the floor under me that I have to pick up now and put away, because if I don't, that'd be really hypocritical. Hypocritical, not hypocritical. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, there you guys.